different. I think when you guys joined me last Friday, I did make a self announcement that it will be a little bit different. So we are back. Just wanted to show you why are we showing up here for just a brief time, because we do have let's see if I can show this to you, a different outlook of book club. Let me see if I can, did I show it to you? Right there. So we have membership, okay, uh, book club platform now, where we're gonna hold this as a member. You do have, uh, well, you have to sign up first of all, right? You can either join us with a monthly membership, or it is a monthly membership, but the way you reserve this obviously is different. You know, you can pay it all at once, just a way of paying the securing this. But as a member, you know, you get to do a lot of things. There's a lot of benefits. These are just past events that we did. But if you go to the BookClub.NickyDare.com, .club, I should say. Oh, yeah, we have to change that. It should be .club. Let me go ahead and change that, guys, because it's now it's different. Don't know how to do that, to be honest with you. So let me just go fix that. And apply now. How do I do that? Okay, here it is right there. God, there's too many buttons here. Seriously. Too many buttons. Let's see if I can do the graphics. Is it the graphics over here? Okay. Go below. Okay, the caption. It should be the caption. Okay, it should be edit.club. .club. Makes sense. Okay, and then this one also has to change. Okay, now I'm going to save that. So, show, oops, hide, ship. Okay. I think it's this one, guys. Okay, hold on. I'm going to edit this, okay? There you go. Let's change. Tell me if you can see that. Okay, there you go. All right, done deal. So as you can see, there's a lot of benefits there. You guys can take a look at this website. This is the main landing page, BookClub.NickyDare.club. Let's take a look at it. This is our hub basically, and that way, okay. Oops. Okay, so that way that you guys can have some of the answers that you probably are questioning what's going on. We're gonna meet as soon as you become a member, and you'll receive like a welcome email follow-up kind of thing. And then you get an invite, and that's a follow-up thing. And then we're gonna meet at a certain time. But this book club, I'm going to do this 15-minute overview briefing one or two more times. So for those of you who are new, are questioning how to, that's the how to. Go to the BookClub.NickyDare.club, and you get all of the answers that you want to, that you have questions on, and hopefully that'll answer the questions. Okay. Before I go on, we are going to, traditionally, this is what we do, we are going to cover which book. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, if you receive the welcome email, there's going to be sets of questions. welcome to go ahead and respond to that, and then submit your questions to us, and I'll be glad to answer that. But one of the questions will also ask you which of the books, of all of these books, yes, I'll show it to you. Kaizen is finally here, by the way. I think I did a little shorty on YouTube about this. It's pretty thick. Um, yeah, yours truly, 300 some pages. Pretty heavyweight, by the way. This is also a great book, Safety and Survival, followed by the crisis management, emergency management as well. This was the first one that came out. This came out of this two, Born in a Pandemic, Survival and Dare to Live Life. Okay, these are available on Kindle. All of them are available on Kindle. But more so, though, I don't want that to be forgotten. A lot of you had asked me to cover this, the latest one. There's another one, situational literature, but I do not mind at all to cover this when we do meet next. Okay, but like I said, one or twice, um, twice more that we're going to meet like this one, just 15 minutes, 20 minutes kind of thing, not the whole session. Um, I want to just kind of like make an announcement that this is what we're going to be doing, okay, moving forward. So sometimes in the mid of March, we're going to launch the session with all the members and everything. I know that some of you have been waiting, and thank you for your patience. You guys are welcome, definitely, to look at the video, the YouTube on YouTube. Uh, our sessions in the past. Some of them, just so you know, are not in public setting. As you already know, he's like, what happened to the others? The rest of them, they're not in public setting, obviously, because it's for members only. Right. So let me see if I can stop sharing this. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see me here now. So yeah, that's that then. There's a lot of books that we can cover, right? Uh, just for the sake of answering some of the questions that I received. I think that's probably it. I'll go with the most commonly asked questions. What which is the best chapters? All of them are. I think there's, we can't just go every chapter, but look at this. This is very heavyweight, guys. I'm going to tell you what the first. I'm going to tell you just the highlight of the chapters. Okay, the content, table of contents here. Um, okay, chapter 1. It would be the Kaizen principles. Okay, and the roles in achieving sustainable success. Okay, that's heavyweight. But it's got a lot of like case studies, examples, and also call to action for individuals and organizations to take steps towards sustainable success. And that's first chapter. Chapter 2 is the Kaizen currency. So we go diving into that, how small changes can lead to big impacts, basically. It talks about the concept of the Kaizen currency and how it relates to sustainability. That's like, wow. I can imagine. It's like you gotta have to have pen and paper just to go through this session with us. The power of incremental change and how it can lead to systematic change. Chapter 3, ecosystemic approach to life, connecting the dots between the environment, economy, and society. That's really heavy right there. Understanding the interconnections between the environment, uh, economy, and society. And it talks about the ecosystemic approach to life. A lot of you ask me, what is that and how is that related to continuous improvement Kaizen approach? So in chapter 3, we dive into that. How the ecosystemic approach can lead to more holistic, sustainable solutions. That's on chapter 3. So we can jump in and dive into that. But I think foremost is to get an overview what Kaizen is, right? Chapter 4, implementing Kaizen in practice, tools and strategies. This is a fun part. because it makes us think and use this as a benchmark or reminder rather, um, in the business strategies and business tools. If you recall, some of these tools and strategies implement Kaizen in practice. It this talks about business process and framework, and also the different strategies and tools and tactical strategies, I should say. Um, I'm talking about lean thinking. I'm talking about, if you remember, Sigma 6, the agile thinking. A lot of you know about this because that's after Kaizen um, was born, was implemented years after, right? Kaizen was really the front runner for all of these things. And TQM, total quality management, I'm sure you guys are going to say, yeah, Kaizen is really related to the is almost like a family, right? The father of Kaizen, the continuous improvement, I should say. The father of continuous improvement is Kaizen, and then after that, the family members, uh, kind of like born out of that, which is a TQM, total quality management, total quality assurance, TQC, total quality control, right? Um, and then if you recall, ISO, industry, standards came out of that too. So I'm trying to wrap it all up here to make you guys think, right? This is something that is really the foundation of what has worked before and still working today. And I'm trying to invite you guys, if you're listening to this, business owners, CEOs, C-suite level management level, even employees, engineers, right? To think about this, to somehow continue to apply this. If you haven't started, might be a good idea to consider this, right? You can sit down and then, kind of like follow. You can always, like, if you need help or anything like that, of course, give us a call, right? We're here to help. But also to think about this, how is it going to play a role in our future business landscape? Because it does, it will. Believe it or not, it will. And I'm just saying that to you. Today it is February 24th, 2023. Okay, in 2 years, 3 years, we can go back to what I just said. Okay, chapter 5, exactly what I said. Kaizen and the future of civilization. I'm sorry, the future of, I'm jumping the gun right now. The future of business and financial markets. Yes, I cover that too as well. The key to navigating the uncertainty of the future business and financial markets. Look, I'm not a financial advisor or expert, but I do want to give you a slice of my, 3 cents basically in that industry, in that within that market share, right? Because it does play a role. Let me just take you here, and I did have a lot of disclaimer in this because I'm not a financial expert. I'm not suggesting any financial advisors or anything like that. I do have my own financial advisor, Eric. He's a great guy. I learned a lot from him. This is something that what I'm observing, right, from the last 3 decades that I've been really watching, and then kind of like thinking, and then make really a perception, make it really an observation views. This is what it looks like, right? This is the key to navigating the uncertainty of the future business and financial market. And in it, um, notice that it's only like one section. I don't really talk a lot about it because I do not have any expertise in that area. So I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just sharing with you what I know, what I observe. Okay. So chapter 5, that was chapter 5, page 214. Let me just take you there really quickly here. And I'm going to share with you what I wrote just a little bit here while I'm at it. I'm just like kind of fired up here. Hang on a minute. I do have my glasses right here. Okay. I put a lot of disclaimer in this. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so I'm just gonna read you some of the highlights the key highlights points. How Kaizen may impact the future of business. Okay. Revolutionize your finances with Kaizen. Unlocking the power of continuous improvement, basically, right? Going back to the basics of this practice, of this approach. Um, One of the key benefits of Kaizen is its ability to help organizations to increase efficiency and reduce waste. This can lead to cost savings and improved productivity, which can help organizations remain competitive in a challenging market. Additionally, Kaizen can also help organizations to improve the quality of their products and services, which can lead to increased customer satisfaction and loyalty. The reason I highlight that in many of the chapters, and I keep reminding ourselves that it's one of the importance of continuous improvement or Kaizen approach, is because what we're going through currently, right? A lot of companies are downsizing. A lot of companies are laying off employees, right? What does that mean? Well, there's a lot of morale is going down. Same kind of similar trend that I've gone through when I started my first consulting business, which was back in the 80s. A lot of those organizations back then were downsizing, we call it reorganized. And I go in there as a BPR specialist, like business process engineering, and then we look into this kind of things, right, and try to find solutions together with the company. But this is exactly what's going on right now, currently. Okay, same flavor, just a different year, different era. We have better technology, we have more modern, more advanced of everything, right? But I want to apply the the newly updated, I got to be careful to say this, newly updated way of thinking in a different business, trying to reach or trying to fulfill a different way of fulfilling, business landscape, different business landscape and business, models, right? In a very changing, rapid changing world, basically. But we're not in it for a short term. We're trying to seek solutions in the long term sustainability. That's why the word sustainability I try to integrate into this in a crisscross in a roadmap to sustainability, because it does make sense. When we put all of those together, it's like, yes, I get it. Those of you who are listening, who are watching, and who happen to be who are familiar with Kaizen approach, I know a lot of you probably live in the 80s, 70s, and go, yeah, more seasoned industry experts. And, a lot of you are probably are retired already and listening to this and said, yeah, if this makes sense, thank you. Really, thank you. This does make sense. The sustainability, the roadmap sustainability, the long-term, sustainability, the crossover of all of the things that's going on right now in the world, it does make sense on the Kaizen sustainable success. That's why I wanted to call it the currency of sustainable success, an ecosystemic approach to life, because it does uh, all of this, it is interconnected with each other. Does that make sense? Okay. So on that chapter 15, Kaizen as applied to financial markets, I said Kaizen can also be applied to financial markets and business marketplaces with great success. For example, financial advisors can use principles when designing portfolios for clients by making small changes over time, such as reallocating assets or selecting different mutual funds. Financial advisors can ensure that their clients' investments are optimized for their individual risk tolerance and long-term goals. Additionally, this can be used in business marketplaces by encouraging customers to offer feedback uh, on how products or services could be improved, thus creating an ongoing cycle of improvement innovation. I know it may sound a little bit, like basic, when you're starting it, but when you're really looking at into the maps, right, the road map, I call it, navigating it through this journey, through the organization, um, you're going to have to sit back and say, okay, now we're going through some changes in the company, or in the world rather, and it's affecting our business, our companies, are the way we do business, the way we deliver services, provide services to our clients, also vendors and things like that, right? And also internally to your stakeholders, right? Employees, of course, employees, who are really the biggest assets in your organizations. And how is that all going to play a role? All of these are really basics, right? But then when you really chart it out as a roadmap to sustainability, it becomes more more significant and more like, yes, it does make sense. And then there's a lot of nuggets in here in this book that I try to, kind of like navigate it uh, throughout this reading, making it clear, making it like, okay, this is what's happening right now, and it has worked, the approach. And I think, and I know it's going to, we're going to have to face these challenges. We are facing these challenges, and we're going to be seeking solutions. How is it going to be? I believe this would be, it's not a one time or one fix all solution kind of thing, but if we can go back to the continuous improvement, especially in the customer, also, employees internally and externally, uh, your customers, you know, uh, God, I can't even speak right now. To your customers, clients, basically, right? Um, then you're gonna have to sit down with your team and ask, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of a company, right? Because I think, and I know this, and I've written it somewhere in my posts and my social media and stuff. It's like when the world is overwhelmed, we're all overwhelmed, right? With all of the changes, with all of this really moving parts everywhere. And we gotta have to keep up with ourselves. We gotta keep up with the trends. We gotta have to keep up with this business, so we can be still in the, in the competitive in the marketplace, right? Whether it's your company or yourself or your leadership, rather, right? Because you're a business owner, um, and then you lead a team. Basically, you lead a company, organization. So I'm not gonna ramble on, but I'm just like wanting to make it clear that when we go so far, we need to kind of like pause a little bit and ask ourselves and go back to that. I've got a lot of whiteboard. So what is the purpose of the company? You know, how is it going to look like within a year? How is it going to look like within 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? I know a lot of us talking about this in the internet, since pandemic, because it has been one of the traditional questions in the interview, right? How does it look like? What do you see yourself? How do you see yourself in 5 years? How do you see your company in 5 years? And then boom, pandemic, 3 years. Next month, it's going to mark our year three, basically, since the global shutdown. We can control that, right? So how do you control how it is inside internally, within your organization? So I think continuous improvement has been around for a while, as you already know, right? It started back in 1950s. Of course, I wasn't born back then, but I got to know it through my college, my second year, when my business professor, um, introduced in college, Kaizen, the word Kaizen. I didn't know what it was. He explained it to us, Kaizen's continuous improvement, blah, 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 so on and so forth. I got to, I like, oh God, this is interesting. It's a Japanese word for good change. Change is good, right? Um, and I knew that is significant to all of us. There are many, many other terminology out there, not just Kaizen, but I can't pronounce some of it. But I just want to focus on the Kaizen because I think it has a lot of nuggets within it. And the continuous improvement, we need to focus on that. Focus on the continuous improvement within internal, um, and also external, obviously. But the internal more so. There's a chapter 5, and I think it ends in chapter 8 because I did want to talk about the space as well. And I go like, this is too much. I can't take this anymore. Um, I ended with chapter 7. That was chapter what? That's chapter 5. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped chapter 6. Chapter 6 is the future of business landscape and business practice. This is cool. I like this. I love this part too. Kaizen next generation, shaping the future, preparing for the next generation for sustainable and Kaizen future, navigating the challenge. Navigating the challenges of the future workforce. That's a fun part. It was fun to write that. Did a lot of research on it too. Kaizen robotics and automation. That was very interesting. Um, I have to insert that. I have to include that within this chapter, just because my son is involved in automation, in robotics, right, industry, and I say it firsthand, by listening to him what he does and everything like that, right? With this company that he's been with for 2 different companies that he's been with, but it's very interesting the journey that he's gone through. So I had to include that. Um, the impact of robotic automation on the human employment, a look at timing and possibility, arguments for and against robotic and automation in the workforce, a balanced perspective. I have to include that because there's a lot of uncertainties and arguments, and I want to include the different sides of the pros and cons, right? Um, Robotics, automation will take away his jobs. What are we going to do? How are we going to do that? So I really want to open up that conversation, that dialogue um, in this chapter. And then I said promoting work-life balance and sustainability through the integration of Kaizen in the future workplace. Case studies, I also included that of organizations using robotics and automation. Case studies of industry specifics using robotics and automation. So a lot of examples of organizations that already implemented this, the automation or robotics, right? And I also give examples of industry specifics, including healthcare. I thought that was really, really on point because I also know that some hospitals over here in Southern California, Newport Beach Hope, for example, namely, has implemented has their own robotic for some kind of surgical procedures. Uh, the lightweight one. It gives you the examples over here, but the next chapter, Kaizen, the future of civilization, the secret to a sustainable future of humanity. I have to include that in this book. Now, before that chapter, I did want to talk about Elon Musk, space in the space industry. And I start writing and writing, and I go, God, where is this going to end? Because I absolutely fascinated by that industry, right? So I read a lot about SpaceX. I read a lot about Elon Musk. I read a lot about, the Tesla, the automobile industry as well. But I was more fascinated, more interested in giving examples in the space exploration. There's pros and cons. I'm not going to talk about it right now here, but it fascinated me when I pull out a lot of case studies as well, a lot of just like research data and things like that, information from different resources. And I was pulling out my hair, and I'm like, this needs to be just a book itself. I do want to talk about this, so I'm going to hold off. And I did pull it out from this book just because I decided to, because there's a lot to talk about in just that space exploration and space industry. Then I took it out, pulled it out, and I said, Elon Musk, you're gonna have to wait. I did mention it though, somewhere around here in this book, in this chapter about him. Um, Robotic automation, of course. And after I kind of pulled it out, decided to pull it out, then I wanted to talk about the civilization, obviously, and I still include that in this book. And chapter 8, if you know me, I'll always put the what's next. What is next is always so important. Whatever we do, writing a book, giving speeches, and things like that, because it's call to action as well, right? I do have a separate section of call to actions as well. It's on. So okay, chapter 8. What's next? Kaizen, the roadmap to sustainability. Basically, that's what I call it. And the conclusion section, the importance of Kaizen in ecosystemic approach. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can do. I'm gonna do this real quick. Ay, ay, ay. Uh, I don't know if I can do this. Okay, let me see if I can show up here. Just like that. Hold on, guys. I don't know if it goes there. Did it go? All right. I was just going through. All right, just hold for like 5 seconds here. 5, 4. All right, guys. I don't know if this is going through already. Okay. All right, we've already covered like 30 minutes out of this. If you are just joining us, this is your book club Fridays with Nicky Dare. I showed up here because I just want to make another announcement. Like I said earlier, um, 30 minutes ago, that we are going to show up here one or two more times, okay, on Friday. So next Friday and then the following Friday, just to announce and giving you guys an overview, because it is an invite only membership, kind of invitation membership space basically. You need to go to the book club. What does it say? BookClub.NickyDare.club. Okay, not NickyDare.com, NickyDare.club. So go over there. I did already explain that to you elaborately earlier. So just go there, and then you can find all of the answers, most of the answers, if not all of the answers that you probably have questions on. Okay, we were talking about this book. There is a lot of books, total 8 basically. Uh, and then we were tossing, which one should we cover? Because there's no way possible that we cover everything. This was my first one. Let me see if you guys can see that. You guys can see that. All right, that's the veracity. Okay, and then this was the second one, born out of webinars, lots of webinars, safety and survival. This is the second one, by the way. My my community, grassroots community works, came out of that. Oh, well, the book came out of that. And there is another one. I believe this one came from the author house, from the publisher. This came from, I said, born out of pandemics, since we got bored during pandemics, right? It was April or May 2020, came out at the same time. Dare to Live Life. And this is the pandemic survival. I don't really talk about this because it's just like, man, it's a fun reading, by the way. People bought this book. I know one of my friends who's probably watching this right now, she bought it and she goes like, oh, this is cool. It's really glossy, interesting, not boring. And that was my purpose of writing this book. It was during pandemic, guys. Yes. Okay. And then there is a couple other ones that I don't have right now, the hard copy, but it is Crisis and Emergency Management. That came out at a pandemic as well. And recently, I think it was like last year, 2021. And then I produced the Situational Leadership, which was long overdue, supposed to publish last year in 2022, but it didn't. Um, yeah, I got so lazy, huh? And then it came out shortly after this one. But this one, I know you guys know the story behind the Kaizen book, right? This one's supposed to be number 2. Number 1's supposed to publish last year, but that was a personal development version, not this one at all. I mean, it's Kaizen too, but it talks about currency success in a different in a different vibe, I should say, more in the time, money, and energy, in the personal development, um, angle. And then I decided, you know what, I want to talk the Kaizen and merge it together with the roadmap to sustainability, which had originally from the global roundtables back in 2020. And I wanted to write a book about that back in December 2020. Basically, I got lazy again and I didn't do it. 2021 got a little bit crazy. I didn't do it too. That was like a blow. I was like, okay, 2022, it got crazy. And I said, okay, no more excuses, Nikki. No more excuses. Whatever excuses you have is pretty lame. Okay. So in January, I set my ass down. Basically, I set my ass down in January this year, 2023. I produced this. And I'm very, very happy with the content. Um, and it got published January 26, 27. Uh, and then I also did, shortly after that, I finalized the leadership sustainability, which I don't have. Next time when we talk, I will have the copy. And then this was supposed to be delivered last month, somehow lost in transit. Some people are already hoarding this. Anyway, is that good, huh? I earlier, if you guys just joined, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. I was just explaining, you know, which book do you guys want to hear? But I got a few of your email basically asking me that, we want to hear about this. Basically, you guys want to hear about this. Uh, we obviously cannot, cover all of the chapters, right? Within a month or something like that. And I don't want to give it away also for all of them, right? Because it gets really, really, my goodness, there's a lot of things to digest, uh, to chew on this, and the digestion is just so heavy, right? And I start reading the content. If you just joined, let me just go ahead and read it to you. The content, chapter 1, chapter 2, there are 8 chapters total. Okay. The first chapter, it is, I like to get the chapter on the overview. By the way, if you missed the first 20, 30 minutes of the session, you all can go to my YouTube channel and then you can, watch it then, because I believe this is on YouTube. I believe, okay, because it used to be traditionally we always do it on YouTube. Um, you can watch the other also past broadcast sessions on the book club on my YouTube channel. I know not all of them are in public setting, just because I put it in private. Uh, if you become a member, you can see all of them, all of the broadcasts. Covering different books. There are a lot of conversations. There's a lot of questions answered during the sessions as well, from your pre-questions that you submitted on the BookClub.NickyDare.club website. So I appreciate all of your questions. We try to answer as much as like we can. And I try to cover it also during my live sessions. But anyway, guys, Kaizen. A lot of you want to know what's in it, or you guys can look at it. And you guys can also look at it on Kindle and Amazon. Let me see. I gotta have my. All right, the content. Chapter 1, again, Kaizen principles, right? And the roles in achieving sustainable success. So this chapter talks about the key principles of Kaizen and how they align with sustainability. I have a purpose to write this book, if you haven't heard it, not just because I want to share this approach, tactical practice or strategy in business and everything like that, because it's very timely. I think we all need to go to the basics, especially with the times right now, currently what's going on, uh, changes in the business landscape, business framework, and a lot of things, right? Declining of the customer services and quality of, and everything else, right? Whether it is internally or externally, like I said earlier, internally with the morale, uh, going on probably internally with your employees, right? Because everything else just looked blah. Uh, the transition of the hybrid remote working landscape, um, the globalization. Also, I want to talk about that. Perhaps not in this session, but we can certainly talk about that, right? The cross cultural, um, you know, the multilingual, and then the geopolitics. Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. All of this play into effect into your business, how your business is going to be performing, and things like that. But that's a whole lot of things to bite on. So I'm inviting you, basically, this was an invite to sort of like pause a little bit. The world is overwhelmed. You are overwhelmed. Everybody's overwhelmed. Take a look at Kaizen, the continuous improvement. Take a bite at a time, and continue to improve by that. There's a lot of things to talk about. There's a lot of things that I covered here. Um, let's see. Success factors sustaining Kaizen, strategies and benefits to achieve sustainable success, case studies. I include a lot of case studies here. Why? Because I wanna just prove that Kaizen has worked and it's working with a lot of big companies. I mean, I'm talking about big companies. Amazon is using it. Elon Musk, you're using it. And SpaceX and Tesla. Like I said earlier, I don't have it here, a special segment section on this book talking about space industry, specifically trying to highlight Elon Musk's achievements. And, at the very end, after I talk about robotic and automation, I decided to pull it out because I think I want to have a second series of Kaizen because I want to see how Tesla is doing this year and SpaceX, uh, with this all Falcons, space shuttles and everything like that. I want to see how they're doing. I'm sure it's amazing, right? What they're doing and everything like that. But I want to hold off because there's a lot of things to talk about in Kaizen, right? Pertaining to Kaizen in many other industries. So I did cover a lot of, uh, if not all, vertical markets, but I want to make it special for the space industry. So I think it's going to be the second series of so Elon Musk, wait for it, okay? Um, and I did mention his Tesla and SpaceX in one of the chapters. I believe is the chapter 7. Oh, a minute. Yeah, chapter 7 in the robotic and automation. So chapter 2, the Kaizen currency, how small changes can lead to big impact. The concept Kaizen currency. You guys probably want to know, why is Nicky Dare calling Kaizen currency? Well, I'll talk about that and explain it elaborately in chapter 2 and how it relates to sustainability. Oh, wait. Okay. And the power of incremental change and how it can lead to systematic change. How to create a culture, Kaizen culture, in your organization or community. A lot of this are call to action as well. And then a lot of many of these things that I talk about in the book, I will end it with here's what you can do. Here's what you can consider doing. It's an invite to take action, basically, not just by reading it and then knowing it, but also how can it be implemented? How can it make your organization better and be improved the way that you want it to be? Again, I'm asking you, it's like, hey, can we sit down and talk about the purpose, the why of your company, the culture, because of all of this, what's going on in the world right now, the changes that we're experiencing right now. All of us are, right? Globalization. Everything is globalized right now. Uh, I did mention that 4 years ago, 2018, 5 years ago, when I made a speech in this International Woman. And then one of the things that struck chord with me when they asked me to talk about leadership and everything, right? And I mentioned about globalization, that all of us have to wear that hat and have to wear that vision, have to have that vision. We can't be just playing local or regional, right? But have to look outside the box, outside our own region, right? And have to think about how is it going to work our business when it's globalized. Basically, that's where we're at right now, borderless. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to chapter 3, ecosystemic approach to life, connecting the dots between environment, economy, and society. This is a very interesting because this is a cross path, crossroad. Uh, when people ask me, the title is very interesting, Nikki, and what made you, what inspired you to call that title? Well, I think, okay, the title, if you don't know, is the Kaizen Currency of Sustainable Success, an ecosystemic approach to life. Why am I calling that? Because I think there's a crossroad. First of all, we're interconnected, right? With the economy, environment, society, all of these pillars, right? We're all connected. And the ecosystemic approach is, that's what it translates to. And when I did the global roundtables, uh, I'm sorry, global roundtables, roadmap to sustainability, I had that in mind. And I'm like, what is the missing piece of all of that is the continuous improvement, the ingredient, the secret weapon that makes it more sustainable to success, the seeking long-term sustainability, the seeking of this, we're in it for the long game, basically. That's the end goal, right? We're not in it just, you know, for 1 year, 2 years in business. We're in it for a long time. So how are we going to succeed? Well, this is what the book is. It's an invitation for you to open up your mind, for you to kind of like digest all of this. A lot of you, maybe, especially when you're in, you know, you, you already have a business in 70s and 80s, you're already familiar. But you know what? I am so surprised many of you don't. Like, oh, Kaizen, what? Like, you know, Kaizen. I know you guys, after listening to this, you probably Google Kaizen. Now in Google search, Kaizen probably number one now. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, um, that's what where I'm coming from with that. The next chapter is ecosystemic approach to life, connecting the dots. Oh, I already said that, the dots between environment, economy, and society, basically, right? So understanding the interconnection between all of those three areas. Um, the ecosystemic approach in the role of environment, uh, community, and self. Yes, I want to include that in this section, in this chapter, because it is so important to understand each of those layers. Um, how an ecosystemic approach can lead to more holistic and sustainable living. Or I'm sorry, sustainable solutions, basically. And I include case studies also in this. I try to include case studies in every chapter when it's necessary, that has successfully implemented ecosystemic approach. All of this organization that I talk about, and I researched them, and they have been doing this, using this. Next chapter, implementing Kaizen in practice, the tools and strategies. Tools and strategies. This is a fun chapter, basically, because you know you're able to see your business owner, engineers, employees, on the floor, on the operation side, supply chain, whatever that you're in the operation side, you're gonna say, oh my gosh, there are some tools and streamline this and reduce the waste, and you're gonna get it. You're gonna understand what it talks about. So tools and strategies for implementing Kaizen in practice, the business process, the business framework. If you're with me listening to this, you're gonna say, I remember lean thinking, Nikki, the value mapping, the what is it, 5 C's, and also Sigma 6, the agile thinking, all of this thing, right? All of these were born out of the Kaizen, out of the continuous improvement, out of the TQM, if you remember, total quality management, TQC, total quality control, TQM, the management, TQA, and ISO existed after that, if you remember the industry standards, right? So, how to measure and track progress. towards sustainable success, how to overcome common challenges and obstacles. The key takeaways using Kaizen. I have to include that there. The key takeaways using Kaizen. And some of these are, I'm opening it up uh, to have an open mind, basically opening a discussion to have like everybody have to sit down around table, to talk to your management, employees, the engineers, um, directors level. All of you have to have an open mind when you look into this, consider the Kaizen implementation, right? Um, to have one goal in mind, collaborate collectively, right? Is that to success and healthy of your company, of your organization, and to how to, you know, to minimize all of these obstacles and all of this waste, basically, right? Um, what I had in mind is that I don't think, the resistance to change is the biggest thing that I worried about, and I don't want that to be like, um, I'm not suggesting that, to have to create like animosity or something like that once when you because it should be the front runner, the front line of everything in that company if you are ready to make that change. I don't know if you get that what I just said. Because the resistance to change have to start from here, from the top. Everybody else is already in the game. Everybody else is already like, okay, we're ready to go. But if this doesn't want to do it, it's not gonna go. It's not gonna go move forward. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think everybody has to be in the same mindset, the same everything, the same kind of like readiness. So otherwise, it just doesn't move, doesn't go anywhere. Sounds like a politic. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that. Even though I have a lot to say. I know. Those of you know Nikki. Yeah, I know. Next chapter, chapter 5. Kaizen, the future of business and financial market. Okay, I said it before already earlier that I'm not a financial expert. I'm not a financial advisor. I already have one. He's a good guy. I don't know. He's on my LinkedIn. He's on my LinkedIn. Eric, yeah, he's a great guy. Very just knowledgeable and sharp, you know. And every time when we have our meetings, at least every 3 months. If you're listening to this, thank you for all of your education to educate me, those numbers and everything like that. Every time I ask him questions, and I always prepare my questions, by the way, before we have our meetings, because he's very smart, very sharp, like I said. Um, and he will come up with the answers very intelligently and realistically. And it does all make sense because I know when people are just going to be blab, just make up, you know, answers, uh, nothing to back up. And it's annoying. Right? It's like, do you think I am? I'm stupid or something? Come on, I've lived in this half a century already in this world. I know what I know. I've been through crisis before. I don't know how many crises have you gone through? But no, I'm just saying that I'm not a financial expert. I'm a financial advisor. Mm, I just want to put a disclaimer out there right now, and I did say it in my book. That's why I only have small segment in that chapter. Um, it's only one segment in that chapter, so like one paragraph. It says the key to navigating the uncertainty of the future business and financial markets. The reason why I want to include this, it just makes sense that it does affect your financial arena, right? The financial market. So I have something to say about it, and that's why I want to include this in this book. So, so don't say like, oh gosh, she knows about financial. No, I don't. No, I don't. Other people do. The experts do. Professionals do. Okay, next chapter. Chapter 6. I'm telling you this is going to be, okay, a few more minutes. Okay. Chapter 6, Kaizen, the future of business, landscape, and business practice. And that's already on page 225. So we're already way ahead now. I talk about Kaizen, next generation, shaping the future, preparing for the next generation, for sustainable and Kaizen future. Right? I call it Kaizen future. Navigating the challenges of the future workforce. Also talk about robotics and automation. I have to include that, like I said, because I've seen it, the journey of my son, get involved in this industry, in this space for many years. Um, I'm very proud of him, by the way, of his success and achievements. And when I saw that, and I'm like, this, I got to talk about this. It only makes sense, guys, robotics automation. And then there are some arguments, right? And I include that in this book because I want to open up the dialogue, for the round table that you might already have with your employees, let's say, right, with your team collaboration, right, to kind of like weigh the pros and cons on these things, because there's a lot of noise right there right now, a lot of layoffs, massive layoffs going on with big company, huge companies, um, you know, uncertainty of, oh, my job is going to be replaced by a robot kind of thing. So I did talk about that in this book as well. It's on chapter 6, if you want to know. Promoting work-life balance and sustainability through the integration of Kaizen in the future workplace. And I included 2 types of case studies of organizations using robotics and automation. Um, yes, I mean, I include SpaceX in that too. Um, I included, healthcare industries, uh, some hospitals. Specifically, I named the ones out here at Newport Beach, Hogue, just because I've seen it myself, that they're doing surgical procedures. The not so heavyweight one is the you know the real minimal surgical procedures kind of thing, with using robots basically. um, God, I can't remember. Yeah, I'm gonna give you, hold on a minute. I have so many things in my head. It's like, I can't think of it right now. It's like, what's the name of the robots? There's so many names. I don't want to quote you the wrong robot name. 240. Let me see. Hang with me. Hold on a minute. Hold on. This is cool. It's like in colors, diagrams, illustration, images and colors, and all of this. Oh my God. Yeah. So okay, here's the name. Okay, I'll talk about the early 20th century, and then here we go. Arguments for robotic. This is a very interesting chapter 249 to 50. Um, all of this, and I include also my final thoughts. How that you guys like that? I have my final thoughts, my 3 cents in this whole thing. Well, segment per segment, and then I don't think segment per segment. I know definitely at the very end of this book, I have my final thoughts. I thought you guys want to jump in there too, to finally see like, oh, what is she thinking? A lot. Okay, so the and then I went on to the next chapter. We're almost there, I promise. Chapter 7. Okay. Kaizen, the future of civilization. I have to include that in there. The secret to a sustainable future for humanity. I try to put everything into perspective, basically, towards the end. Many of you know me. I like to see things also in a, well, because this is what I'll talk about in this book, long-term sustainability, the vision of the future. How is it going to look like in 10 years, 20 years, in a decade or so? Not so much, but just sort of like, this might look like this, right? But I did talk about the secret to a sustainable future, um, for humanity, because I'm very passionate about that, right? And then I ended with, what is next? Kaizen as the roadmap to sustainability, basically, that's the whole book for right now. I do still have more to say. Like I said earlier, I wanted to include, there's a chapter I want to include the space industry, space exploration, things like that. I started researching, SpaceX, Tesla, Elon Musk, of course, because I follow him on Twitter. Um, I want to see the growth of all of those things. But then I said, you know what? Let me hold back in that chapter just because I want to see more this year. Because he's doing a lot of things right now. This year there's a lot of growth in his, businesses. Um, so I just want to hold off. Basically, I don't want to talk a lot about that. By the way, I want to keep it like pause because it's going to be in my next book. And if I know, I hope Elon is listening to this towards the end of this long-winded session of book club here at Nicky Dare. Uh, I just, I think it's important to talk about that too as well. There's, I hate to say this, but there's pros and cons, right, in this kind of things. Um, Especially when we talk about reducing waste. You know, uh, I'm looking at it as the environment as well, right? I'm not talking about climate change. There's all talk about beyond the climate change, by the way. Um, so there's still things that I think we need to be. I don't want to go deep in this, by the way. It's like, wow, Nikki, why are you taking towards the end? But I sat down that night and I'm like, why should I include this chapter? Talk about space exploration, space and other thing. I was just, my eyes hurt. I've been, I want to interview some people that's in the industry. I really, really, truly want to interview Elon Musk. Um, but I hold off to that chapter. So I hope you guys are going to be like really glad or enjoyable with this book because it is a very fun reading. I don't want to try to make it boring. In sub chapters, I did make a note saying reminder like, hey, put the book down for right now. Take a break if you are still reading this. I think that's very mindful, right? So the next one, the way I end this book, by conclusion, the importance of Kaizen and ecosystemic approach in achieving sustainable success. A call to action for the individuals, for somebody like you, business owner, leaders, and then also your organization, right? To take steps towards sustainable success. That's what we're aiming for, the long game. How can we improve? How can we get there? How nobody has the blueprint, obviously, right? But we can certainly look at some of the success that we have done in humanity, businesses have implemented in humanity, right? And perhaps we can have a newly updated version of it, the re-engineered version of it, because this is what it's all about, really. Oh, there's another one. And I include a list of sources and resources for future, oh, I'm sorry, for further, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on, for further reading and learning about Kaizen's abilities. So I did include that, and also include tools and templates that can be used in practice in your, in your implementation in your organization. Okay, that's it. Really. All right. Well, I'm rambling. I hope not. But that's it. That's the book. God, it's pretty thick. This is happy reading. But you know what, guys? This is, uh, it's a fun reading and it's really a lot to digest. So I do suggest that you have pen and paper with you and be ready to take notes, basically, because there's a lot of call to action. There's, I will remind you, like, hey, this is call to action. Could you please put your paper and pen, take your paper and pen out and take notes. Basically, I say that in the book too. It's like, hey, it's time to do this. Don't forget to also check out this and this. It's not forgotten. This is a great book, by the way. This is great. This has a lot of those call to action as well. personal preparedness assessment guide. Basically, what I intended to do, my goal was to have this in a smaller pocket guidebook so you can carry it every time or every day, whatever. And then if you, how to stay prepared, in case of, uh, earthquake or something like that. This is something that, you know, situational awareness. I cover that too. Active shooting, active shooter training, the mindset, natural disasters, things like that. I mean, we can't be 100% prepared, guys. I mean, this is not the goal. The goal is to stay prepared and stay prepared with the resources that you have for multiple emergency scenarios, basically, right? And that is to be self-reliant. And that's exactly my message. The bottom line of the message, the end goal is to be self-reliant, because you know what, no one's going to be there to save you except you. I mean, they are going to be there for you, but it might be too late. We already seen this on news, we already seen this in everywhere. So I do work with the emergency community here and CEPA, and emergency disaster preparedness in my community, and that's what we talk about. And by the way, if you are listening to this right now, we don't have the community event tomorrow because it's raining, it's storm. We just had a flood watch um, here in Los Angeles County. So the committee decided to postpone it until next March, next month, next month in March, 20, I believe it's 25th, exactly 1 month. So if you want to know more about that, you can DM me directly, email me, or go to the nonprofit idarecares.org, idarecares.org, and you can find out more about this event. I just heard about it yesterday, so it's really kind of yeah, we collectively decided to postpone. I think it's a smart decision, uh, because of the weather conditions. Even though that we said rain or shine, but I think it's really extreme weather condition. So we try to be safe and sorry. All right, guys, that's it for me. And don't forget to check out, what's the club.NickyDare.club, that little ticker over there on the bottom. Check it out, BooksandCourses.NickyDare.club. Okay, that's it for me. Talk soon. Happy Friday. Stay warm, stay dry, stay safe, stay in condition yellow. And hopefully that if you had missed me earlier, that's okay, because we were doing private, invite only members, session. That's what we're gonna do next. This year is a little bit different than the last 3 years. That's it for me. And if you want to, get connected with me, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram. And then hello@NickyDare.com is my email. So go ahead and, send an email to me or what have you not. Believe me, you can find me. Oh, I want to mention also, last thing, that I might be back, but I'm going to manage it myself. Facebook. You can find me facebook.com/the Nicky Dare. I believe that is because we have a couple of pages before, and it's run by different groups basically. But I'm taking it over, and hopefully that I can do it all. I don't know. Now you guys, I'm not technology savvy. Okay, I'm an old school, so forgive me if I don't know how to do it. I'm learning and learning every day. Okay, continuous improvement using the KAIZEN. Right? Okay, talk soon. Happy Friday. Stay safe, stay warm, stay dry. Okay,